Welcome back to English 4.0, the radio show. Let's go! Intermediate. All right, welcome back. Yes, it's time for the intermediate portion of the class here in Class 55. Starting off with a little review of what we were looking at yesterday on the program. We were talking about when I was at school. Things were different when I was at school. When I was at school, I ate lunch at home. Well, when I was young, I did. When I started school, I ate lunch at home. I used to walk home because my school was only probably 10 minutes, about a 10-minute walk from my house, which was obviously quite fortunate. I lived in a small town. So when I was in school, or when I was at school, when I was at university, we could say. When I was at university, when I was at school. Now, you can say in as well, but do not say the school. Okay, that's the important thing, is we don't use the article. We don't say when I was in the school. No. When I was at school or when I was in school, I used to walk. I used to walk to school in the mornings, and my brother walked to school as well. We walked together, but then my brother is a few years older than me, so he used to walk to a different school. A little later on, he started going to a different school, so he walked in a different direction. But we both walked to school. So, and then I used to come home as well. I used to come home from school. I would walk to school and I would walk home. I would come home as well. So you have the verb to come, the verb to bring, traer. I used to bring my books home with me. I used to bring everything. I used to bring my books home, and I also used to bring, when I was in junior high, I used to bring a saxophone home with me because I played the saxophone in the school band. In junior high, I played the alto saxophone. So I used to bring the saxophone home with me and my school books. And I used to bring a lot of things with me, maybe too many things. I was known for overpacking. On the weekend, I would always bring usually all my books. And I don't know, maybe it's a strange characteristic of my personality. I like to bring a lot of things with me when I go places. I like to, on the weekends, for example, I teach classes in a company in the mornings, and I bring a lot of my books home on the weekend in case I want to use them on the weekend, which is a possibility. But I think I'm afraid of being somewhere and not having what I need, so I like to bring a lot of things. So when I pack for a trip, I bring a lot of things, but I'm learning to pack lighter. I'm learning when I take vacations away from home, I'm learning to pack lighter, and I think people bring too many things with them when they travel. People generally bring too many things. I think you should have one bag, one suitcase, and that's all. My brother is the best at this. He packs very light. And he brings, again, traer, to bring. He only brings one pair of pants. When he comes home for Christmas, he doesn't even check a piece of luggage. He doesn't check the luggage. He carries it on. He only takes things that he can carry onto the airplane. So he brings a small backpack with an extra pair of pants and one more shirt, some underwear, a toothbrush, and that's all. My brother packs very light, and he travels a lot. He travels to a lot of different countries, and he packs very light. He brings very few things with him, especially, and the other verb that we're practicing, the verb to fly. When I was in school, I didn't fly very much. When I was in university, I started to fly more, and now I fly more than ever. I fly back to Canada. every Christmas at least. And my brother's the same. He flies a lot, and he doesn't bring many things with him when he flies. Very few things. One thing he brings nail clippers to cut his nails. He always tries to bring them on, and he gets caught with them because you're not allowed to go through security with them, but he doesn't want to check them in. So he tries to carry them on, and half the time, or I think he said about 20% of the time, they take the nail clippers away, and 80% of the time, he is successful in bringing the nail clippers through the security at various airports. And he travels so much that he knows certain airports, and he can say, oh, Chicago is bad. They always take my nail clippers in Chicago, but they never take my nail clippers in Tokyo. They never take my nail clippers in Bangkok, but they always take them in Chicago, and they usually take them in Toronto, and they sometimes take them in Detroit, and they never take them in London. So he travels a lot, and he's very familiar with the security procedures and how they differ from one airport to another. So the point there, well, I was supposed to talk about when I was at school, and I suppose I did a little bit when I was at university, but there we go, the story of my brother and his nail clippers and his packing in terms of the things that he brings with him. He brings very few things with him when he travels, when he flies. Okay, we had the verb to bring and the verb to fly in there. Okay. All right, I think it's time for a little Canadian geography lesson. Are you ready? All right, good. I'm glad you're ready. I'm glad you said yes, because we can talk about Canadian geography. Ask me, which province... Oh, first of all, ask me how many provinces there are in Canada. Kyle, how many provinces are there in Canada? Oh, good question. Good enthusiasm. One more time. How many provinces are there in Canada? There are 10 provinces. Ask me which province is the biggest. Kyle, which province is the biggest? The biggest province is Ontario. Yeah, Ontario is the biggest province. Ask me which province. I'm going to say what? Ask me what the biggest province, what the smallest province in Canada. We could use which because we're choosing from a defined set, but we can also say what. Kyle, what Canadian province is the smallest? Ask me that again. Kyle, what province is the smallest? The smallest province is Prince Edward Island. Prince Edward Island, it's quite small. Yes. Ask me what province is the richest. Kyle, what province is the richest? Alberta is the richest province. Kyle, ask me what province is the poorest. Kyle, what province is the poorest? Oh, that's a good question. That's a very good question. I don't know. Maybe mine, Nova Scotia. Or, yeah, maybe Nova Scotia is the poorest province. It's not doing badly, though. It's not bad. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure which Canadian province is the poorest. Okay, let's practice with some superlatives here. A few more. I'm going to say a word, I'm going to say an adjective, and I want you to give me this superlative and then the opposite superlative, okay? For example, I say tall, and you say tallest, shortest, okay? Long, longest, shortest, good. Big, biggest, smallest. Easy, easiest, most difficult, difficult. Da, da, da. 3 syllables. We have to say most difficult. We can't say difficultest. Eso no vale. Okay. Hard. Hardest. Softest. Fast. Fastest. Slowest. Cheap. Cheapest. Most expensive. Yes. Young. Youngest, oldest. Who's the oldest player on Real Madrid? I suppose the oldest player is Raúl. Maybe I'm wrong, but I suppose the oldest player is Raúl. New. Newest. Oldest. Thick. Grueso. Thick. Thickest. Thinnest. Thinnest. Do you like thick pancakes, tortitas? Do you like thick pancakes or thin pancakes? Like in France, they have crepes, French crepes. They're very thin. I like both. Sometimes I like a thick pancake, maybe with blueberries in it. Arándanos, blueberries inside. Delicious. But I also like thin pancakes, like the crepes in France. They're very nice. The thinnest pancake I had, ask me where I had the thinnest pancake I've ever had. Kyle, where did you have the thinnest pancake you've ever had? I had the thinnest pancake of my life, the thinnest pancake I've ever had in Paris. The French crepe, delicious. Simple, the superlative, simplest. And the opposite of simple, complicated. So most complicated. Yes. Near, nearest, farthest. High, highest, lowest. Good. The superlative of good, best. And the opposite, worst. With a T, the superlative has the T. The comparative is worse. The superlative is worst. Rich. In voz alta. The superlative, richest. Bill Gates, I think, is the richest man in the world. And the opposite, poorest. Clean. What's the cleanest city in Spain? A good question. Ask me what the cleanest city in Canada is. Kyle, what's the cleanest city in Canada? I think Ottawa is probably the cleanest city in Canada. Ask me what the dirtiest city in Canada is. Kyle, what's the dirtiest city in Canada? Probably, actually not very far from Ottawa, well, in southern Ontario. Probably Sudbury, Ontario, or Windsor, or maybe Hamilton, which is known as the Steel City, because they create steel there, and it pollutes a lot. Hot. Hottest. And the opposite of hottest? Coldest. Coldest. Very good. Word of the day. All right, it's time now for our word of the day. Yes, the word of the day is, bueno, en inglés, ¿cómo se dice? Especias. ¿Cómo? Eso es. Spices. 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 I like to put spices on my food. And then my food becomes picante. If I put a lot of spices on it, it becomes spicy. Because there are a lot of spices on it. Do you like spicy food? I like spicy food, but not too spicy. But I do like spicy food to a certain extent, hasta cierto punto, to a certain extent. Okay? Spices. Now, several spices. Okay? Several spices. I like several spices. I use several spices when I cook. Repeat that. I use several spices when I cook. Yes. So here we're starting our words with the S sound, which is not vocalized. It's not voiced, meaning there's no action in the vocal cords. So we start with a spice, spicy, spices, spices, not a spice. Eso no vale, okay? I have a story to tell you, in fact, about a friend of mine who, well, not a very close friend because he's a bit of a thief, un ladrón. Yes, we were in the park one day, and he had brought food for a barbecue. I was at a barbecue, and this guy named Steve, he showed up. He arrived at the barbecue, and he had some meat and some barbecue sauce. and he wanted to apply the barbecue sauce to the meat, but he didn't have any spoons. So he stole some from some other people who were having a barbecue near us in the park. So what happened? Well, so he used them to distribute the sauces, the sweet and also spicy sauces. So if you ask me what happened, I could say, well, Steve stole several spoons to spread sweet and spicy sauces. ¿Cómo? Una trabalenguas, claro. Steve stole several spoons to spread sweet and spicy sauces. Very good. One more time. I'll say it slowly and then I'll say it a little bit faster. Steve stole several spoons to spread sweet and spicy sauces. Steve stole several spoons to spread sweet and spicy sauces. Sweet and spicy sauces. Spicy sauces. Where notice how the S sounds are linked together. Steve stole several spoons to spread sweet and spicy sauces. All right, now 55.2 here in your student guide, the verb to swim. Ask me if I like to swim. Kyle, do you like to swim? Yes, I do. Yes, I enjoy. I like to swim. I enjoy swimming. I like to swim. Okay. Ask me if I swam in a reservoir yesterday. Kyle, did you swim in a reservoir yesterday? No, I didn't. I didn't swim in a reservoir yesterday. Ask me if I swam in the ocean last year. Kyle, did you swim in the ocean last year? Did you swim in the ocean last year? Yes, I swam in the ocean last year. Did you swim in a lake last year? Yes, I swam in a lake last year. Ask me if I swam in a river when I was in Canada last summer. Kyle, did you swim in a river when you were in Canada last summer? Yes, I did. Yes, I swam in a river when I was in Canada last summer. Did you swim in China last year? No, I didn't swim in China last year. Every day I swim. Yesterday I swam. Swam. You have to close your lips with the letter M. Swam. Very good. Vocabulary of the day. All right, it's time for our vocabulary. Very quickly, our vocabulary of the day because we're running out of time. The first word, viable. 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 The second word, de mente abierta. Broad-minded. I'm going to say these really fast because we have to finish the show. Afirmar, to state. Afirmar, to state. Simultáneo. Simultaneous. ¿Cómo? Simultaneous. That's right. Misterio. Mystery. Mystery. Misterio. Mystery. Very good. We're completely out of time. We have translation list 6 to look at. We will look at that at the start of the next class tomorrow. Stay tuned. I'm going to go to the break. I'll be back with the advanced portion, but we'll be back for more, including translation list number 6 tomorrow. See you then. Bye-bye.